Hey, what's going on everybody? Commander Crane here, and we are back with another Pioneer deck tech, and today we're going to be talking about Boros mice. I'm very excited to share this list with you. As always, at the end of the video, let me know in the comment section, is there a specific mouse that I didn't put in the deck that I definitely should have? Or obviously not just mouse, but really any card. Or do you have suggestions for upcoming videos? Just let me know in the comment section. So last thing real quick too, before we hop into the video, this is the first video featuring new cards from Boros. So if this video just came out, expect a whole bunch of new decks coming out with cards from Boros. But if this video's been out for a while, definitely check out the channel. There's most likely going, oh, not even most likely, it's certain that there's going to be other videos featuring new cards from Boros. You know, not only like decks with the other creatures that are featured on Boros, but also maybe some spicy cards that I found in the set that I wanted to build around. So definitely check those out for sure. So all right, Boros mice. So it is a relatively new creature type. I don't know when exactly the first mouse came out. It might have been Wilds of Eldraine, but they've been building for this, building up to this for a little while now, and we have a whole bunch of new mouse cards or mice cards. I don't know how technically would be the right one to say there, but anyways, this deck's really spicy. Let's go and hop into here. So what mice are we playing in this mice deck? So all right, we have 4 Flowerfoot Swordmaster, 4 this is like the first time I'm saying these cards, Heartfire Hero, and 4 Cheeky House Mouse as our 1-drop. So Flowerfoot Swordmaster, I really do like this card. You have the Offspring mechanic, which is cool. You can pay an additional 2, and if you do, you get a token, yeah, 1/1 token of it, which is pretty good. And then whenever this becomes the target of a spell or an ability you control for the first time, mice you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So a lot of the mice have the new mechanic Valiant, which is very similar to Heroic, except it's spell or an ability, which is really cool. But yeah, being able to Anthem our mice is pretty sweet. So definitely a huge fan of the Flowerfoot Swordmaster. I also do like Heartfire Hero. It's like a combination of like favored Hoplite with also like a Cacophony Scamp because of the death trigger there. So whenever it becomes a target of a spell or an ability you control for the first time each turn, put a 1/1 counter on it. And then when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. Definitely a huge fan of Heartfire Hero. At least if our opponent removes it, we do get some value from it. We can pump it up a bunch and do a lot of damage with it. So definitely a huge fan of that. Then we're also playing 4 Cheeky House Mouse. I've always really liked Cheeky House Mouse. I think it's the only mouse in the entire deck that was not printed in Boros, but I do like this card. So you have the pump ability there, Squeak By, which is just so funny. But yeah, it's able to trigger the Valiant, which is really, really good. And then obviously we have the creature side, which is a 2/1 for 1. Nothing wrong with that. That's a really solid rate. So definitely a huge fan of Cheeky House Mouse. That card's just so funny. I love saying that. All right, what other mice are we playing in this deck? So these are the other 3 mice that we're playing. So we're playing 4 Ember Heart Challenger. 2/2 for 2 with haste and prowess. We're already off to a really good start. Whenever it becomes the target of a spell or an ability you control for the first time each turn, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. I really do like this card. I think this might potentially be the strongest mouse in the entire deck because, spoiler alert, we're playing a lot of non-creatures and things that target that we're going to be able to take advantage of Ember Heart Challenger. So definitely a huge fan of it. We're also playing 4 Manifold Mouse, and this card is sweet. You've got the Offspring 2 there. It's a 1/2 for 2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target mouse you control gains your choice of Double Strike or Trample until end of turn, which is just sweet. So if we're able to pump up our mice a bunch, which, spoiler alert, we're going to be able to do that, then being able to give Double Strike or Trample is sweet. And then let's say again, we're all out of cards in hand, we don't have any spells to play, it does trigger the Valiant because it's spell or an ability. So definitely a huge fan of Manifold Mouse. Then we're also playing 4 Seedglaive Mentor, 3/2 for 3 with Vigilance and Haste. Whenever it becomes a target of a spell or an ability you control for the first time each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So this card's just going to get really big. You know, maybe if we're in Magical Christmas Land, you know, we go Seedglaive Mentor on 3 after Manifold Mouse on turn 2, and then boom, we're gonna, let's say we'll give it Double Strike. Okay, we trigger the Valiant on the Seedglaive Mentor, gets a 1/1 counter, so now it's a 4/3 Double Striker. I mean, that seems pretty good to me. So definitely a huge fan of Seedglaive Mentor. So I think that I'm pronouncing that right anyway. So all right, these are the mice that we're playing. What other cards are we playing in this deck? So spoiler alert, we're playing a whole bunch of cards that are going to help trigger Valiant. You know, again, very similar to Heroic. So the cards that we're playing to help support this. So we're playing 4 copies of Might of the Meek. I think this card is really good in this deck just because it's a solid cantrip. So 1 red instant, target creature gets trample until end of turn. It also gets pulse and pulse 0 until end of turn if you control a mouse, and then draw a card, which again triggers the Valiant, helps us draw a card. It gives trample, which is really good, and it's mice support. We love mice obviously in this deck. We're also playing 4 copies of Monstrous Rage. 1 red, target creature gets pulse equals 0 until end of turn. Create a monster roll token. I don't know if I really had to explain what Monstrous Rage is. This card is incredible. It's really good with all of our mice because obviously they get targeted by a spell. Basically, it's like a Titan Strength, but better. So definitely a huge fan of Monstrous Rage. And then the last instance that we're playing to help support this, we're playing 4 God's Willing and 4 Lauren's Escape. So again, it triggers the Valiant, which is really, really nice on it. But, you know, this deck is extremely weak to cheap, efficient removal, and God's Willing and Lauren's Escape really helps with that. The one thing, do keep this in mind if you're playing this deck. You know, don't play a lot of your mice on curve. You're going to want to keep extra mana open if our opponent's playing like Fatal Push and Go for the Throat and things like that, because we're going to need to be able to protect our mice. It's really, really important. So that's why we're playing the 4 God's Willing and the 4 Lauren's Escape to help with that. I'm definitely a huge fan of that. I think it's really good. We get our mice, you know, really big with all the Valiant triggers and such, and then boom, we have God's Willing and Lord's Escape. So definitely a huge fan of that. Just keep in mind that with the God's Willing, if our opponent like tries to like play with fire or mouse, and then we like God's Willing, we can't like Monstrous Rage it after. Do keep that in mind with God's Willing. So, okay, that's the entire main board. Let's go and hop into our lands, and then we'll talk about the sideboard real quick. So, the lands is really simple. It's a simple Boros mana base. We're playing 4 Inspiring Vantage, 4 Sacred Foundry, and 4 Battlefield Forge. We're also playing 4 Needle Verge Pathway, 1 Aganjo, and 1 Sekenzen. And then rounding out our lands, we are playing 1 Plains and 1 Mountain. Again, really, really simple. You know, we're not playing any man lands just because we really do need the Boros colors on this, so we don't have room for Mutavault or anything like that. But quite frankly, we really don't need it. And for our spicy basic lands of the day, of course, we have to feature the brand new Bloomburrow Plains and Mountain. Obviously, you got the Plains there, you got the mouse on there, which is very, very fitting. I really do like this mountain. I think this mountain looks really cool. I like the colors they used on it. And what's cool with Bloomburrow is there's like 4 different, it's like the same art, but there's 4 different ones because it's for all 4 of the seasons. So like, for instance, like I know there's like, it's like the spring plains, the summer plains, the winter plains, and then what did I say? Spring, summer, fall, winter. There we go. So there's 4 different arts on that, which is really, really cool. So, you know, obviously if yours is a little different than this one, that's definitely why. So, okay, let's go and hop into the sideboard here, which again, our sideboard is pretty simple. We're going to want some graveyard hate. Just play Rest in Peace. We're in white already. There's no reason you shouldn't just play Rest in Peace. So I put Torch the Tower and Get Lost on here because we're going to want some extra removal. We're not actually playing any removal really for the most part in our main board, so do keep that in mind. I like Torch the Tower just because it's really cheap, it's efficient, it's good against a number of different decks in the format. Get Lost is also just a really good catch-all for the most part, so that's why I'm definitely a huge fan of that. I didn't include this on here, but I would play, you know, some combination of maybe Damping Sphere, although Damping Sphere can be a little annoying for us. It's hard for us to play multiple spells in a turn, so do keep that in mind. But again, with Valiant, we really just have to trigger it once, so just keep that in mind. But the last thing is, we also can play Gigantha in our deck. It's obviously not 100% necessary for the deck to function, but we can just play Gigantha. It's free, why not obviously play it? And then the last thing we have to talk about is the budget options for this deck, which I'm going to be honest with you, there's really not a lot, and that's because this deck is already incredibly cheap. Obviously, I have the, you know, budget dual lands, play budget dual lands, you know, swap in some, oh, what's a good one? Trying to think, you could do like Fury Calm Snarl or like Clifftop Retreat. That's really all you can do. Cut the Sekenzen, cut the Aganjo, and that's it. Most of the creatures in this deck are uncommons. We do have some rare ones, obviously, but they're really not going to be that much once the set actually comes out. That's it. That's all it is. The current list is only $180 US as of right now. And then the budget list, I was able to get it to 75 because again, the entire cost was just in a couple sideboard cards and the lands. Once you cut all that, this deck is incredibly cheap. So I was really excited to do this list, you know, obviously with, also, the one thing, I'm sure someone will say this in the background, the actual mouse in the background is not in the deck. It's Mabel, Heir of Cragflame. But I was really excited to be able to do mice when I saw that mice was going to be a thing in Bloomborough, I was like, man, I know we're definitely going to feature a mouse deck here on the channel. I was very excited to do that. So I guess let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about the list? I feel like this is one of the more interesting lists I've done here on the channel. It's kind of like you take a bunch of mice and you kind of take like a Boros heroic shell, you push together and you get a pretty cool aggro deck. So yeah, definitely let me know in the comment section below what you think about the list. So, and that takes us to the end of the video here. Thanks so much for watching. The deck lists are in the description below if you'd like to check out exactly what I'm playing in the sideboard, or if you just want to see the visual representation of the entire list. Thank you to our channel members, Ralph, Matt, Arcadius, Ray, Gary, and Sarwanoki. If you are interested in being a channel member, it's only $1 a month. You get access to the exclusive Discord here for the channel, as well as other features here on the channel. So, I'm Commander Crane. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope to catch you in the next one.